This is Ocean Wings, where Manta Ray magic leads to meaningful change. Hosted by me, ocean advocate Martina Wing, join us as we explore how nature can reconnect us to what really matters in life. Together, let's dive into how each of us can truly make a difference at this critical time for the environment and our world, and how we can transform awe and wonder into action, conservation, courage, healing, and purpose. Welcome back, aloha, to another episode of the Ocean Wings podcast. I'm thrilled to have Ashley Jacob today, and she's really close to my, physically, but to my heart too. She's one of my crew members. So we wanted to bring a little bit more information, an ocean lover's journey from wherever Ashley came from, and she will tell us this story today, to Manta Ray Advocacy. And we want to discover how you can end up maybe as well in Hawaii and do the work we do. So welcome, Ashley. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's tell a little quick story, what happens almost every night with our guests. Just the other day when I walked along the beach to get to the entry point, one of the guests, was just saying, "You have the best job in the world." I totally agree, but these were his words. And I want to hear how you ended up here, and maybe we can start actually at the very beginning, how the ocean captured your heart. I think that's what it really is. So let us know where you come from and what your first steps were towards the ocean and how that's all evolved.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Northern California in Santa Rosa, and my family, we camped a lot. So we were surrounded by redwoods, rivers, and oceans. So we spent a lot of time camping outdoors. I have a lot of memories camping out at Bodega Bay, specifically Doran Beach. And so from a young age, I would say the ocean always sparked an interest in me and a love for being at the ocean. Along with that, I was a kid that could always be in the water, and my parents had a hard time getting me out of the pools and everything like that. But I always had a love for animals. In first grade at career fair, I said I wanted to be a vet. So I was big animal lover, and so I just wanted to be as involved hands-on with animals as I could be. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but when the movie Dolphin Tale came out, that was kind of my struck idea, like, oh my gosh, I want to be that person. I want to work hands-on with marine mammals. That sounds like the best thing in the world. And so I just kind of, through my schooling, just combined ocean and love for animals to kind of set off on that career path, and as a big dream of mine to always accomplish.
Yeah. So let's unpack a few things. So first of all, you're half my age, I believe, something like that.
Yeah.
And so this movie, Dolphin Tale, was about a dolphin in Florida, and he had a artificial tail. Is that correct? Just remind us maybe what was your age when the movie came out, and how that kind of led you to this place of, I want to be that person.
I was 12 when the movie came out. And it was about a dolphin that was rescued, had an injured tail, unfortunately had to get amputated, and they essentially tried to give that animal a second life by giving a prosthetic tail.
Mm-hmm.
And so they rehabbed it, and it wasn't able to get released back into the wild, but they were able to provide a life for it and have people get inspired by its survival and perseverance with its missing tail. And so I wanted to be involved with anything hands-on rehab. I wanted to be rescue, rehab, release, whale entanglements, anything involving that kind of thing. But yeah.
And I believe California is really strong in really running ahead of many other states. First of all, I mean, it's an ocean close to the Pacific Ocean, and there's a lot of marine life up and down. But I mean, compared to maybe Washington or Oregon State, it's like California has a marine mammal center. Is that correct?
Yeah, in Sausalito.
So I have no reference, I know California is large. Like, I'm from this small country of Germany, which, but California is probably double the size, especially length, right, along the coastline. So how far is distances? When you said you grew up in Santa Rosa, how close is that to the ocean? Is that like an hour drive?
Yeah, it's like 45 miles, I would say, 45 minutes or so, to the coastline.
And then Sausalito, you said, is the Marine Mammal Center.
Yeah, that's in Marin County down near San Francisco, which was like an hour from us.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for all the listeners that are not Californians, it's like that's really helpful to understand. And then you said you were 12 years old when this movie came out. So that was, what year was that then? I'm giving away your age here in a minute, but
It's 2011.
so I believe in that phase, we also have movies coming out like Blackfish. This was about dolphin being in captive programs, and this whole issue came up that more people just learned about what captive programs do. And then we have also a movie where it says you give actually a dolphin a second life that came from the wild. So I think everything that is about ocean conservation and just having a deeper look behind the scenes happened during those years. And then really good movies came out about the shark finning, and then about racing extinction is a movie about, it's a man-made extinction that we created because so many species are going extinct or under pressure, are threatened and endangered. And I think this was about the same time that 2010-11 that this all started to bubble up and more information was available to many people.
I was gonna say, I have a lot of friends when I was saying that I wanted to go into marine biology, kind of like, oh, like kind of tending towards going into working in aquariums and things like that. But I really kind of made a strong point of going into the conservation side, and kind of being in like the research, outreach, education, development side of things. And so that kind of led me towards going to Humboldt State because that was a big school known for conservation, environmentalism, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I didn't go to school here in the United States, but I think Humboldt University, that had already a ring to it. I knew that it is a really great school. And so you went there when you were after high school? Or did you do something in between, or straight from school? Then that's what American young people do. They go from high school, directly to a college. Is that correct?
It depends. Some people take time off, they'll work or try to explore different career paths, go to JC, junior college, or go to straight to a 4-year college. But essentially, what drove me to Humboldt was actually I was playing volleyball. And so my goal was to be able to play volleyball in college as well as go somewhere that would be beneficial for a career path. So I was fortunate enough to be able to play volleyball at Humboldt as a walk-on, kind of build that sense of community as well as explore that environmental career side of things. And after 2 years of playing, I kind of reached a point where volleyball was still a great thing and super fun, but I knew it was something I wasn't going to do forever. And I felt like I was missing out on a lot of extracurricular activities outside of that. And so I made the hard decision to quit playing for the team so that I could join an internship working for the Marine Mammal Stranding Program and then join the scientific diving community and get a minor in that as well. So that kind of was my career path divide of just kind of going full in and really focusing on getting hands-on experience.
Wow, cool. So you became a scuba diver.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty awesome that the school allowed or had the opportunity to have a diving as a minor. And it was a very credited diving program. A lot of people got great job opportunities after going through that. Instead of getting your scuba license and or certification going through like a 3-week program, it was split up into 3 whole semesters where you went through your open water certification, your master's advanced, and then eventually leading to rescue or scientific diving. So it was really drawn out, really self-dedicated, really taking the time to go through the motions and get the hours in and putting in the work to kind of fine tune those skills. But, and on top of that, in Northern California, not the greatest diving experience, just with low visibility, freezing cold water. But they would say as long as you could dive there, you could pretty much dive anywhere. So kind of got you set up, which was nice.
Absolutely correct about that. So when we here in Kailua Kona, we have such a strong, robust industry for anything ocean recreation and snorkeling. What we do for our jobs now with the manta rays, but I used to be on scuba all the time too because it's also scuba dive, depending on which location you go. But then there's a lot of day diving, and I remember always saying when we had the guests on the boat, even if they had 6 or 8 dives only, and like we said, where did you get certified? Yeah, in a lake on the mainland. And we're like, you're absolutely better trained than any of the people that do recreational diving only and get certified in warm water. So there's always, we're always like hats off to going through these harsh conditions to train yourself on survival underwater. I mean, there's so much physics and rules, and you have to be alert and know what you're doing when you go scuba diving because of pressure changes and all that stuff. It's a side story, but and then to top this off with scientific research, that's you have a certification for a scientific diver, correct?
So that was really cool. What we did was we basically did a lot of kelp surveys, going down, monitoring kelp forest health. We did invertebrate surveys, monitoring for abalone, different species that were threatened or endangered. They just wanted to know population health. So it was really cool getting to experience adding the scientific kind of point to it and having to deal with all different sorts of conditions and still trying to focus and write things underwater. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Are you limited to a certain depth as a scientific diver? Like when we go open water scuba diver, you're limited to 60 feet, and then you do the advanced open water, and then you can go deeper than that. But recreational diving is limited to 130. You should not go deeper because it's not a good thing. So it's a long story behind that. And I personally only dove to 30, 40 feet because for me as a photographer, underwater videographer, we always felt like it's the best light in the 30, 40 feet. You know, as soon as you go deeper, less light and less, it's harder to get good footage. And then the Manta Ray dive was always only 30 feet. So I have no desire to go deep, but is there any limitation you have for scientific diver?
I'm pretty sure it's like 60 feet or something. I mean, it depends on what kind of scientific survey you're doing. Most of what we were doing was more intertidal, kind of only depths of 20, 30 feet. But we did, for part of our certification, we had to get checked off as a nitrox diver. And so we actually went out to Catalina Island and went diving out at the institute out there. And we got up to 102 feet, which was really cool. But I mean, there, the visibility was amazing, so we didn't have any major issues with light or anything like that. But yeah, I've only kind of gone down to that depth once for just certification.
Just a quick explainer, nitrox diving means then when you have a scuba tank, if it's just normal air, it's 79 nitrogen, 21 oxygen. But if you use nitrox, a tank, then they bring just more oxygen into the tank. And so that is just less nitrogen intake for you while you're diving. It's a little specialized here, but for the folks that listen and are scuba divers, I'm sure it all makes sense. But you're always limited when you go to depth, how long the dive lasts. You know, that was another reason for me. Like, let's dive 50, 60 minutes instead of 30 minutes, because when you spend a lot of time deeper, then the air is more compressed and you have shorter time underwater. But very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that you're scientific. I knew that on your application when you came to us that you are a scientific diver, but I didn't realize it's a 3-semester process for you to do so much on that end. Very cool.
Yeah, we crammed a lot in. It was a lot of fun experiences for sure.
Nice. All right. So now you're at Humboldt and you do your college for your degree. And what did you finish up with? What's the degree that you received?
So it's technically a Bachelor of Science in Biology with an emphasis in marine studies and then a minor in scientific diving.
Nice. And then you stayed there, right? What happened then?
I did. So after I left the volleyball team, I got involved with the Marine Mammal Training Program. And so basically, that was going out and completing opportunistic and systematic beach surveys, covering the coastline of our whole Humboldt County from all the way up near Oregon down to Mendocino. And so basically, we'd report any dead marine mammals that would wash ashore, record decomposition level, any notes of human interaction. You take body measurements, sex. Basically, that would get recorded into a long-term data set that would just keep track of all of the different stranding patterns. So that was really fun. And in that, I made a lot of great connections. I've learned very quickly that how important it is about community and building connections and networking with people. It's really hard to find things just searching online for different opportunities. And so definitely getting to know people around you and talking to people, you've come to find a lot of open doors, which is really cool. And so through that program, I met a grad student who was working out at this elephant seal colony that was about 2 hours south of our school campus. And so she was looking for student volunteers to basically get trained and go out in the field with her and help her collect data. And so I jumped on that immediately. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, or my career path. And so I was just kind of looking for every opportunity that came my way to kind of explore different avenues and just kind of build on my whole experience and my resume. And so I helped her out for a couple years through COVID, basically had to hike 4 miles out on a beach to this elephant seal colony. And we would spend all day out there taking photos of their marks and tags, documenting who was there every week, all that fun stuff, and then having to hike all the way back at the end of the day through 20-mile-an-hour winds and crazy conditions. But it was an amazing experience. I would never give up. And so I just stuck with that. And eventually, she was beginning to end her graduate career, and I was looking into possibly taking over. And so I chatted with our advisor and chatted with her about the possibility of it and just kind of networked my way in, and eventually just kind of started going out and doing surveys and was able to get accepted into their grad program. So it was a really wild turn of events. It was definitely not planned, but it led me to awesome opportunity.
Sounds really fantastic. As a door opening and you walk through it, and another door opened and you kind of grabbed it, right? Felt right, probably, and then you said, let's grab onto it." Just to a little more information about elephant seals. These are the really big ones. I've seen one in all my diving here on the coastline. We have in Hawaii the Hawaiian monk seal, which is an endemic species. It's also endangered, but it's just for Hawaii. We were diving, I don't know, 20 years ago, we were diving daytime, and someone said, there's a seal, there's a seal. And at that point, we didn't have many monk seals around. So we just like, what kind of seal, right? And it ended, we heard then it was an elephant seal. And he eventually got caught and brought back to California because that's where he came from. That's the story behind it. So, and he was huge. So give us a little bit more information about elephant seals. So how big was the colony? I mean, how many animals?
So it's kind of hard to give an exact number because it depends on the time of year for what age class of elephant seal is there and how many. So, for example, in the springtime, that's when there's the most seals there. It's when the adult females and juveniles come back for their annual spring molt period. So they molt all their fur off. And at that point, there's over 900 seals within a 1 mile stretch of beach, which is insane. That was just this past April. And it ever since then, it's been growing. To give you the downside of that, or the lowest number of seals that we have out there in July, August is kind of our male molt period. So at that point, all the females have left, and now all the adult males and subadult males return to shore to go through their molt period. And at that point, there's only about 48 to 50 seals present on the beach. So pretty low in numbers. So it kind of ranges. And then in the fall, we get the medium amount of 300 to 400, maybe 500 seals. So we have our fall juvenile haul out, and then it leads into the breeding season.
So where do they go? Do you know how far north and south they go along the shores or the coast? Like we have the mantas with their names, and it's a common question. It's like how far do manta rays swim? And we name the manta rays so we can follow, in particular, for example, Big Bertha. We know her since 1992. So you have there something similar. What can you tell us about that?
So the cool thing is that there's a bunch of elephant seal colonies along the California coast, all the way down in Baja, Piedras Blancas, Santa Cruz, Point Reyes, and then this elephant seal colony at the Lost Coast is the most northern. So basically, not all of them, but most of elephant seals are flipper tagged with a little plastic kind of ear, kind of like a sheep's ear tag on their rear flipper. And so at these colonies where research is being done, whenever these seals show up, they're documented and ID'd. So we can kind of track them in that sense. There's other colonies that actually apply satellite tags to their heads that keeps track of their movement and depth and all other kind of environmental factors. And from that, I know that it is known that the male elephant seals go up to Alaska and the Aleutian Islands, and the females, or the adult females, typically go out to the Hawaiian Islands right after they give birth to feed. They are the deepest diving marine mammals, traveling miles deep. They travel through deep sea trenches to avoid orcas and great white sharks. So they kind of use that navigation system. But I know there's not a lot known about the juvenile or the weaned pups, kind of what their first migration pattern is. So a lot of places, research facilities are starting to document that and look into that based on that satellite data. But for the most part, elephant seals are solitary. They travel independently. They only group together for molting and breeding on the beach, but they spend their whole lives out at sea.
So they do come to Hawaii, huh? The females. So maybe it
They
was not
do.
such a special event for us, but it was special because it was on a scuba dive, which is, I mean, you're still limited in what you can see on a scuba dive, right? But it was a pretty big event. So on the boat, everybody, even people that live here for a long time and dove, then like, oh my God, elephant seal. So that's so cool to know. And then that the males go to Alaska, she said.
Yeah.
And it's like the humpback whales, right? The humpback whales go up to Alaska and they come back down to the Hawaiian Islands. And in their life cycle, everything about Hawaii is reproduction. It's not about feeding. And Alaska is about feeding grounds and, yeah, other things, I guess. I mean, the actual mating is probably taking place here too, but the birth of the little humpback whales, the calves, is taking place in the warmer waters of Hawaii, around the Hawaiian Islands somewhere. So cool. So I heard you say earlier with Dolphin Tale and the movie that mammals were really touching your heart. Do you think that's why you kind of pursued being with the elephant seals?
Yeah, definitely. That was one reason I was drawn to working with the elephant seals for sure. I don't know, something, it's hard to describe, but there's just something about marine mammals that I know it just kind of hits home to heart. You feel a little bit more sincere towards, I guess. But after I graduated my undergrad, before I started grad school, I actually did an internship in Florida in Clearwater where I worked with sharks and rays. And so that was my kind of first experience outside of the marine mammal world, which was really cool. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Any hands on experience I'm learning, I'm going to fall in love with it. Anything marine science related is definitely up my alley. But I spent a month there in Florida and we basically worked on boats going out along different bays and shorelines, and we would collect and tag different shark and ray species. It was working for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, basically as like a 13-year population health study. So we would capture them, we would take notes on health, sex, size, measurements, and then we would basically apply a little tag to them. And if anyone were to catch that animal, they would let us know and we would document that. And then part of that study as well was applying satellite tags to tiger sharks and kind of tracking their movements and trying to find their breeding ground. So that was a really cool experience. And definitely opened my heart a lot more to the fish side of things.
So, and then you ended graduate school. So now you have another degree. So what's the degree you have now?
So technically, it is a master's in biological sciences, also marine mammal emphasis studies. But I'm actually still working remote, finishing up my thesis and helping continue the research at the elephant seal colony. Before I left there, I started training a group of undergrad students to continue going out and collect data to support the population study of this elephant seal colony and kind of to work with the Bureau of Land Management out there to kind of limit human interaction as the colony keeps growing. So definitely working on that on the side. But I'm hoping to finish that in January. I'll be defending my thesis and wrapping that up. But having this opportunity, finding Manta Ray Advocates has opened a whole new world of excitement of things to keep me going and push through finishing my thesis. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, so let's tie this into how did you find us, or what was the driving force to look at Hawaii, leaving California? So let us know how you ended up here.
Yeah. So basically, my boyfriend, he's also in the marine science world, mostly in fisheries. He had just finished working in Alaska for a year with salmon. So he was back in town looking for work, applying to a bunch of different jobs. I was starting to browse around as well as I was planning to start finishing my master's degree. And there's a lot of great job opportunities in Humboldt and near Humboldt County. It's a very saturated area for environmental and conservation. So it is a hard competing field to get into for sure. But as we were applying for jobs, he actually got accepted into quite a few jobs, but unfortunately then got defunded. And so they had to basically cancel the work projects. And so a lot of environmental jobs in that area got canceled because of lack of funding. Um,
And that was just timing wise, beginning of the new administration, right? Something there was a lot of shifting around of funding for grants, and then you were more or less a victimized in the sense of like you had a career path you wanted to follow, and then you had to shift around. Is that correctly?
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. He
Oh,
he got back in November and started applying for jobs, and that's kind of when everything started switching over and everything was kind of up in the air. And a lot of companies were open about it gratefully and said that this might get cut. And unfortunately, they ended up getting cut. But yeah, most of this happened in the beginning of this year. Had a lot of friends that also were in the same situation and got discouraged and completely changed their whole career path because they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't see any hope in anything coming up recently. So they decided to switch roles.
yeah. And then your boyfriend found other work, right?
Yeah, so he started expanding his search out. He applied for a job out here in Kona and received the job application. And basically, we were kind of weighing the pros and cons of it. And we said, you know what, we have this opportunity. Why not just jump for it and go for it? There's going to be hopefully a lot of great opportunity for me there as well, just given the area. And so, yeah, he accepted the job. It all happened very fast. It was unplanned. It happened within like a month. And within 2 weeks, we secured housing out here and we moved out here. And so he started working in June, and I basically finished up selling all of our things back in Arcata and finishing up all of my research and getting everything as much done as possible. And then I flew out here in July. And
Yeah.
so at that point, I was just kind of immediately searching for any foot in the door to get into the science community out here.
Yeah. And how many doors are there? I don't think there's so many, right? Are there scientifically?
Yeah, when I was searching, it seemed like there were a lot of opportunities. Most of them, unfortunately, were not here in Kona. They were mostly on Oahu or on Hilo side and related to university. But there were a few places that I applied to, and it was the same boat. They were not confident in their funding abilities. And so those ended up getting canceled as well. But when we figured out that we were going to be moving here to Kona, so many people reached out to us. It's crazy how many people had some sort of ties to this area that we didn't know. But a lot of people put the worm in our ear to get involved or check out all of the manta swims, just because everyone kind of knew that's what this island is known for. And moving here, we had never even been here before. I had been to Maui and Kauai a couple times. My boyfriend Cole, he'd only been to Oahu once to move his sister into college for like 2 days. So we didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, but hearing about the mantas, I just started kind of exploring that and looking online to what it was all about. Coming from a conservation research background and knowing how much the tourist industry is so oversaturated here and knowing that there's a lot of kind of controversy and backlash in that, I was very picky with what route I was looking into. I definitely didn't want to get wrapped up into something that was against what felt right to me and just kind of do something that was all for the tourism and the money. I wanted to give people experience and kind of educate and make more people aware of why things are important and like why the environment and conservation matters. And that definitely played a role working at the elephant seal colony, talking to hikers, educating them, and just kind of seeing that aha moment in their eyes of like, wow, this is insane. And the ability to experience wildlife so close in its natural habitat is just an indescribable experience for most people. So navigating through the manta realm, I somehow came across Manta Ray Advocates. It was just one that kind of popped up, and I browsed the website and noted how much it emphasized education, outreach, and sustainability, ocean sustainability, and kind of doing no harm to the mantas. And so that really hit a nerve for me and struck home. And so I immediately kind of browsed around trying to find some sort of like contact or link. And I think I did find like a fill in sheet.
We do have an online application, but we hide it. We don't do it. But if people Google it, they can find it. But it's not on our website because our team stays small over the years. I mean, we have now a nice um, group of 8 women, and then we just cover all the shifts. But we do have an online application because sometimes people look for it, you know. So that's what you did.
Yeah. Yep, I did. And I just applied and just kind of to see what had happened.
Yeah. And timing was really good because something changed on our end, crew-wise, and then your application came in, and then we followed up within 2 or 3 days. I think one of the most important questions for me is that, are you actually on island? Because you described that you come from California, and I couldn't really feel through the application if someone is actually already on island and established. It's really hard. We've tried that before with applicants working for Manta Ray Advocates coming from the mainland. It's too hard to get your feet on the ground here because we are not full-time jobs. Everything we do is part-time. The fluctuation of business is really, especially in the winter, we have a lot of cancellations. So our business just does not sustain full-time jobs, but there's always a second job needed. So anyway, that is just how we looked at your application, and we followed up with some questions. And you're like, yeah, I'm here. I came like last week. I live here and here. That was actually another really important point because location-wise, I live in Kailua Kona, you live in Kailua Kona, but our work is on a Kohala coast. Our setup is about 30, 40 minutes from the airport to the north, you know, and there's some logistics involved to bring the gear to the hotel. Someone needs to come from Kona if I don't go, all these little things. And I don't know, a week later you work for us.
Yeah.
So it just really fell in place. And I'm really grateful that you did the research, what we are what I'm really trying to do as messaging, and not only message, also living sustainability and looking through the glasses. If you put glasses on your face and you look through the glasses of sustainability, not on the glasses like what does the human species get the most out of it? And I'm not going to give anything back, but it has to be both ways. And the natural world needs our help so much. And you just said so nicely, when people are seeing an elephant seal, right, and they see it's the real thing right in front of them, and you talk to the hikers and you explain things to them, or we have the guests at the hotel, at the Manta Swim, and they're in the presence of this beautiful animal, it really touches someone's heart. And only that way you can change the world, which I still want to do. And I think you're on the path to do that too. With so much
Definitely.
education, I'm really happy for you to get so much education in your 20s, and what you can build on that. So there's so many more paths to go.
Yeah, it's so rewarding seeing people's reaction, taking them out there and having that experience with the mantas. It's awesome how many people have told me life-changing and brings tear to their eyes, and it kind of removes them from kind of like in a deep emotional trauma that they've been holding on to, which is really cool how that kind of awakens in people. But yeah, I was just fortunate enough to find you guys and to like hear your story of how you're such a small business and how you guys got up and running and started, and kind of your effort to kind of standardize manta ray snorkeling in recreational health and trying to keep them feeling kind of secure, but allowing people to have that experience and get up to see them. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an uphill battle, conservation, and making people aware, creating awareness. But it's a hill that I like to, I'm gonna keep climbing. It's a content to my heart to do things on this planet while I'm here that has to do with animals and ocean. And I think you fell into a place that, or we really connected on that level. And a few weeks ago, you mentioned you will be. Do you think you can stay on? Do you want to stay on this island for a little longer? So then there's always a future for you with Manta Ray Advocates, and I'm excited about it to have you on our team. So.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited too. Yeah, it's been awesome being a part of the team and kind of feeling like our little small knit family, and sharing all the fun stuff with the manta rays and getting to know them on a personal level and all their little characteristics.
Yeah, and they do. They have their little individuality and personality traits, and some are a little clumsy sometimes, and some can don't come closer. Some are shy. Some have no hesitation to come close to the people, and that's really one of my favorite things after the tour when people say, "Oh, I didn't know they're so big. Oh, and I didn't know they come so close." And we as a crew in the background, we just smile. I have this really big smile when I hear that, because that's really is impressive to be in the presence of a manta ray. And being in the presence of an elephant seal is very impressive too. I had it one time underwater, and the elephant seal was hiding behind a coral head, and I was hiding behind a coral head. We just looked around the
Just
corner
checking each
because
other out.
he was intimidating big, so. All
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners, for your career path, for young people that maybe listen to this? I hear follow your heart, see what doors are opening, um, let go of things that don't work for you anymore. I heard that volleyball just was a great sport for the time being, but you felt like you needed to do more hands-on stuff. So anything you can share, I think the listener would really appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. Just follow kind of your career path that you want to take. I mean, a lot of people that work at Manta Ray Advocates, they don't have kind of the major conservation scientific background that I do. And so kind of take that as a sign that you don't kind of need a major intense background in career education. As long as you have the passion and the willpower to kind of put in the time and effort to go do it, you can. It just takes one step at a time. And who knows where you'll find yourself. Just keep following um, every door that kind of opens your way, and you'll never know where it'll lead you. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow for the next shift. And thank you so much for your time this morning. And Aloha, and thank you for everybody listening. Hopefully you want to check out the other episodes. We talk about a lot of different aspects of ocean conservation and people's stories, human stories, and how the Manta rays touch people's heart. So thank you for listening today. Until then, aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks for joining us on Ocean Wings. If this episode moved you, inspired you, or made you think, please follow and share it with someone who cares about conservation and making meaningful change. Want to learn more or experience the magic of manta rays? Get in touch at oceanwingspodcast.com and subscribe to our emails for more stories from the ocean. Tune in next week for another episode. Until then, keep swimming with purpose. Aloha.